Know thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, thou shalt hear the word of my mouth, and warn them from me.
Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Middle Tennessee and examining current events from a biblical perspective, this is Bible News Radio with your hosts, Randall and Stacy Harp.
Hello, people. Welcome to this edition of Free for All Friday. Yeah, it is. And this is Sherry Keggy's song from about 4 years ago called Lucky to Be Breathing Your Air, people. She was on Facebook last night singing her songs. Lucky to be breathing your air. So I thought, I should play this song tonight, Lucky to be counted as one who gets to know amazing grace. Lucky to be one of your own. And I'll try to say hi to people as I see you. Hi, Sean Mucci. Lucky to be never alone. Right from the day I was born, it's just as if I was sworn into this sweet life with you. You're the lover of my soul. You have kept me close to your side. I couldn't run if I tried. I'm a ham, I admit it. Love would just keep pulling me back again. Oh, lucky to be breathing your air, lucky to be filling this space, lucky to be counted as one who gets to know amazing grace, lucky to be wearing your crown. Oh, lucky to be one who was found. Yeah, I was. Little old me. I'm just a girl with a dream, just a girl with a dream. The one that you have so lavished on. There is no single song that could ever contain it all. Yeah. Lucky to be breathing your air, lucky to be filling this space, lucky to be counted as one who gets to know amazing grace. Lucky to be freed of my shame. Freed of my shame, yeah. Lucky just to utter your name. Oh yeah, utter your name. Call it blessed, call it fortunate. The word's not important, but that it's not by chance, but divine providence. La 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 da 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 da. Lucky to be breathing your air, lucky to be filling this space, lucky to be counted as one who gets to know amazing grace, lucky to be wearing your crown. Yeah, lucky to be one who was found. Yeah, lucky to be breathing your air, lucky to be filling this space, lucky to be counted as one who gets to know amazing grace, lucky to be one of your own. Yeah, lucky to be never, lucky to be never alone. Thank you. Good night, people. Okay, just kidding about the good night part. All right, so we're starting the show out tonight with Sherry Keggy. That's on her CD, No Longer My Own, people. Last night she was on Facebook doing a live show from her house, and it was super cool. I commented on it, and it was so sweet. She sent her condolences to us for our dog Tuggy Bear, who died 2 weeks ago today, and it just, it really just touched me. I just wrote over on my Facebook page about it, about Tug being gone now for 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks, I mean, the first week we cried practically the whole week
And this week has not been as bad, but it's so sweet. I mean, you guys, I just got to tell you, Randall and I have received so many nice messages, a couple of cards, some gifts from people, expressing your love and condolences, and I have to tell you, what I just wrote on my Facebook was, one of the things that a lot of people have said to us is that that they're sorry that we've lost a friend, and I never, you've always heard the phrase, a dog is man's best friend, right? But I never thought about it, really. I mean, I never thought of Tug as a friend, just like I never really thought of Grover as a friend, or my cat for that matter. But cats are, they're of the devil. The cats are. But anyway, but Grover, Grover is a good buddy. He's my buddy. I love him. I love him probably more than Tuggy Bear, but I don't know. I apparently love Tuggy Bear quite a bit, because I didn't cry this much at
I guess
the
it
loss.
has been 2 weeks already.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't cry this
Gone
much
by quickly,
at the loss.
which is, I guess, a good thing if it seems to have gone by quickly. But
Well, but yeah, I mean, we got a card today from our financial planner who lost his dog unexpectedly a couple of years ago. And oh my gosh, you talk about watching social media and having your heart ripped out from a man who loves this dog. I was like, okay, I can't do this. I cannot watch your social media, because every time I do, my heart's like, it's just, for an empath, oh my gosh, it's awful. But
I mean, there are good friends, and then there's a dog. Man's best friend, because there is that unconditional love, and they just to please. They aim to please. That's every dog needs a job. Take note, people. Every dog needs a job of some kind.
yeah.
And in performing that job, they're looking to please you because they want to eat. That's a that's a big motivator. But also, as my own experience, our own experience would tell, as I was writing about Luke and Liberty, not too long ago. And
Did you cry as you wrote it?
Probably. It's hard to remember now. I know I did as I read it, especially I posted it this week and people were commenting on it, saying it was beautiful and thank you for sharing. And I'm like,
Randall says to me, maybe I should be a romance writer.
and yeah, because it's all the women who are saying this, all women that are saying how beautiful it was. And
Well, for a man to
Oh,
go, that was beautiful.
I don't know. I mean, I have no problem looking at sunset or a sunrise or forest and go, wow, that's beautiful. Or I've read poetry. I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. I mean, that
So if you
doesn't
guys
threaten
are
my
on, if you're on
masculinity,
YouTube, go ahead and say something. Say hi so we know that who's there. Periscope, I have 6,000 whopping followers on Periscope, and right now 3 are in the chat room. We're not being spiked or hidden on Periscope by Twitter, are we? I wouldn't think so now, would we?
Nah, we just lost our relevance. Nobody cares anymore.
No, I've tried to
We were
tell
hot stuff at one time, but
no, we're the banning of believers is more whatever. But anyway, so can I finish?
But
He interrupted me. Did you people know that? But that's okay. I'll let you go. Go ahead.
you asked me a question.
I didn't.
You did?
I did not. I don't remember asking you a question. I remember
you
getting
cr-
interrupted.
Did you cry when you wrote it?
Well, but you interrupted my opening monologue. But whatever. Go ahead.
No, I'm as you were.
So, as I started to say before Bareface jumped in and interrupted my opening monologue, that talking about dogs and being your friend, I never thought about that, and so it just kind of made me think, animals are unconditional lovers. It's kind of lost, I've kind of lost the flow of what I was saying, really. So Bareface, you should come back and read your thing. Go ahead.
I wasn't gonna read it. No.
Well, what were you going to say? You were going to say something.
Just. because I was saying that, dogs are motivated by food, but then
Tuggy Bear was.
I recalled
evil.
as I was writing about Luke and Liberty that, we could put a treat at their feet and actually call them away from it. We could leave the room and leave it sitting there, and they wouldn't take it until we told them it was okay. So,
They were German Shepherds. Tuggy Bear was a Bichon.
but we never tried any of that. Never.
Tuggy Bear would have ate it no matter what. He was he was a food hound.
Anyway,
A thief, a scoundrel, a face of evil. That's what
so,
he was.
It was just, I was just trying to illustrate
Amazing
that
he lived to be 15 without
that-
his, wicked ways.
Anyway, it just goes to show that the desire to please their masters is above their
So
desire for food.
what do you miss the most about Tuggy Bear? It's time for therapy. It's a therapy moment, people.
Just hanging out. I think about the days, that I'd be just sitting in a chair or whatever, and I'd have Grover on one side and Tug on the other. It was usually Grover on the right and Tug on the left, but not always. Sometimes they'd switch it up and, just be there, my thighs basically sitting, or sometimes, like along my calves if I had my feet up, and just their presence. And again, there was something about, as you know and other people know, the look in Tug's eyes that, like, he got it. Like, there was something more going on there than just the typical dog thoughts, whatever those are, that, I don't know.
He was a very weird dog,
That, you could tell that he thought and felt deeply.
like me.
Like you.
Yeah.
Only differently, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, he probably didn't obsess about weird things like I do the way that I do.
I don't know. You never know.
Maybe. I miss him because he's not outside my bathroom door anymore.
Yep. He's good at that.
Every time I go inside the bathroom and shut the door, I turn around, open the door, there he was, laying there.
Yeah, even when he could barely walk, he made sure to be there.
Yep, he followed me up the stairs. Then he'd fall down the stairs. So poor little guy. Yeah, and I've noticed Grover is now kind of hanging out outside my bathroom door a little bit in the morning. It's not every time I go to the bathroom, but he's been up there a few times, kind of on the outside, going, "She could come out. She could come out." And for those of you who care, which is most of you, poor little Grover, we went out to lunch today because, we can't stay here forever. I played pickleball and then we went out to lunch after, and Grover was pretty much a mess by the time I got home. He was crying and everything, and I had to hold him, and he doesn't cry much, but Tug was unflappable. Grover's the exact opposite. He's like a complete neurotic mess. This is why I resonate with Grover. But Tug was a great guy, great dog.
Yeah, Tug. Hey, Tug, the sky's falling.
Who
Okay,
cares? Whatever.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'll just deal with it.
Whatever. There's a tornado. I'll just take a sun nap right now. Dog did nothing.
Sean over on YouTube says Tug was a true therapy dog. I never thought of doing that with him, but he probably would have been a great one.
He was. Even going into the assisted living to see my dad and stuff. Yeah, everybody loved Tug. He would just sit there because he didn't care. He was like, whatever, give me food.
And scour the floors for any crumbs they could find.
Meanwhile, Grover's like, Mom, please don't leave me. Can I sit on your lap?
Hold me.
It's so funny. All right. Well, anyway, so I wanted to share a couple of things. So is this COVID-19 thing impacting you? So I'm going to tell you something. This week, okay? This week, I had to go to the eye doctor.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did. Finally, because, I would have had glasses a couple months ago, but they closed down the eye doctor. So finally, I got to go in. But here's the funny thing. So they texted me a message, and they're like, make sure you bring your mask to the eye doctor. And I'm like, I don't have a mask. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to be I'm not doing it. I am not bringing I'm not buying a mask. I'm not bringing a mask. I am not wearing a mask, people. And I know some people, I was reading in Romans today. I have to I'll get to that in a second. Well, actually, I'll get to it right now. So I set out a challenge this week in our Daily Disciples Facebook group to read through the book of Romans this week. And I explained all that in that group. So you can go find that on Facebook and join it. And in chapter 14, it talks about the weaker brother and food and how all this stuff is, how this deals and stuff. Well, this made me think about the whole COVID-19 thing and the mask. So is it, are you a butthead if you don't want to wear a mask? Are you a rebellious person? In fact, all over Facebook this week, people are asking, do you wear a mask when you go in public? And then if you dare say no, it's the horror of it all, Well, anyway, so I go to the eye doctor, right? And so it said, bring a mask. I'm like, I'm not bringing a mask. Number one, I didn't have one. Then Randall found a recycled one. I'm like, I ain't wearing that.
It wasn't recycled. It was new.
Well, anyway, so I went to the eye doctor, and they're like, you got to call first. So I called in from the parking lot. This is the stupidest thing ever. I'm trying not to say the A word. Anyway, so I'm like, they're like, hello, blah, 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 eye center. And I'm like, hi. They're like, who is this? I'm like, Stacy. I have an appointment. And they're like, do you have your mask? I'm like, no. Do you have extras you could bring me? And they're like, why? As a matter of fact, yes, we do. And I'm thinking, duh, of course they do, because they're the thing. So anyway, we go out. I get out of my car. They bring out the mask, put the mask on. They shoot me with the thermometer to make sure I don't have a fever. Then I go in and they're like, ma'am, you need to go wash your hands over there. I had already washed my hands before I left my house, but whatever. I just said, okay, fine. So I went over there, washed my hands. I'm like, squirt to the soap, doing this, blah, blah, blah. Doing it a lot just so they can see that I'm doing it. And then, I go ahead and, and then after I washed my hands with my mask on my face, they took me in to do my eye exam. Now, this is the funny part. So the funny part is I'm in there, right? Mask, glasses on. And they're like, you need to put your hand over your glass so we can test your eye. And I'm like, okay. So I have my eye on my actual glasses, a mask over my face, and I'm trying to read through this eye while my glasses are fogging up because I have this mask on. And I'm like, to the kid that was in the room with me, it was just me and this kid who also had a mask on. I said, is this really necessary? He was like, yes, ma'am, it is. I'm like, seriously? Because this is ridiculous. I can't even, he's like, I have a trick for you. I'm like, you do? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So, like, what is it? He's like, just take your mask and put it like right below your nose so you can breathe. Needless to say, it was a pain in the butt to get an eye exam because then I had to, when I finally could take my glasses off for the distance eye exam that they do with, without your glasses. I'm like, this is insane. So then today, you're going to love this one. So this is how COVID's impacted me. So finally, after all these months, I can go play pickleball, right? So me and my friends, because pickleball is a walk-in sport, like there's 100 of us, 50 of us probably show up at a time, and then we just rotate in and out and fight over who gets to play with, not with Phil, but other. Anyway, we have all this group of people that usually show up. Well, so now we have to reserve our court with the people we're going to play with. And pay for it. This is the worst part because we already paid for the gym membership. But they're like, no, for the next 2 weeks, at least, this is how we're doing it. Well, the pickleball community is revolting because very few people are doing it. Well, anyway, so I go in there. I reserve a court today. And my friend that was supposed to be with us showed up early. And there was one person late for the first 4 group that was going to play. So she decided to go play with the other 3 people while she was waiting for us. So we walk in I hadn't seen my friend DJ in quite some time because she goes to Florida for the winter. And she came in, I'm like, do you think we could hug each other before we go inside and before they give us a lecture about being this far apart? DJ's like, yeah. So we hug each other. Then we walk in. I paid the stupid $3. And then we go into the court. My friend Diane, she's over there playing with the 3 other people that she wasn't supposed to be playing with. And I'm like, hey, Diane, you need to come over here and play with us. And just then, the court Nazi comes in and says, she can't play with you. I'm like, why not? Because she's already playing with them over there. I'm like, they're waiting for their 4th person. She was just stepping in to play while she was waiting for me and my other 2 people. They're like, nope, we're sorry. You can't play with your friend. I was like, are you kidding? Are you serious? So DJ's like, yeah, they're serious. They're going to shut pickleball down. I mean, they are like, I don't even know. I don't even know what the right word is, but it's like, I'm like, they're enforcing pickleball like Nazi Germany. It's like, you signed up with 3 other people. One of them defected from your group to go play with the other person while they were waiting for their 4th person. So as it turned out, though, the 4th person that was supposed to be playing over there ended up playing with us, and it was still really fun. But how stupid is this? I mean, seriously, completely stupid, right? The only good thing about playing pickleball today was the fact that we could hear other people playing pickleball. We had okay, so the courts, there's 2 courts over here and then 2 more over here. They got them spread out. So we were over here, and then there's a wall, and then the other people were like diagonal over on that side. So we could hear each other play. So it kind of felt almost like, okay, there is other people here. Not like we're in like some cemetery playing pickleball by ourselves. I mean, completely crazy. And all because of COVID-19. I mean, seriously. And pickleball, the only thing about pickleball is the only thing that you touch in pickleball is the ball. So we're like, why can't we just like sanitize the ball? And then we can all use hand sanitizer, like go squirts our hand, sanitize the ball, and then Diane can come play with us, and then Donna can go play with the other team that she was originally going to play with. No. We cannot cross-contaminate the court. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. And yet, I have to tell you guys something. Here's the interesting underlying thing about this. At one point, the rec center person who was supposed to be watching us, the whole time, they weren't even in there. And there was this much temptation to go cross mingle, in the, just to see what they would have done. I'm because they come over here, they take me by the scruff. You are escorted out because you dared go and be with other people. I mean, that is completely insane. And then here's the other thing. I haven't shared this either. My dad, I get a phone call from his assisted living yesterday. Right, you guys know, I got a 91-year-old dad I haven't been able to see because that population is very vulnerable. Well, I get a phone call from the executive director yesterday telling me, well, it's mandated now by the government that we have to do testing with all of our residents. And we're calling you up to find out if you want to get your dad tested or not. And then he says, just so you know, this is a pretty invasive test. They're either going to put something up his nose or in his face. And I'm like, okay, and you're testing him for what? You want to test him for what? For COVID-19. I'm like, okay, so let me get this straight. My dad's been in isolation for 2 months because you're not letting anybody in the building except you guys, which, you're all cross-contaminated because you're seeing other people. And now, because the government's saying that you should run testing, make it mandatory, you're calling me up to see if my dad should take a test when he hasn't been around anybody. And they're like, yep. So what do you think I said? Do you think I said, oh, you know what? It's so thoughtful of you to want to do a test on my dad because it's so important to find out that he's negative of COVID-19 because or do you think I said, are you serious? Really? What do you think I said? Well, I'll tell you what I said. I said, no, do not be giving my dad that test. Right? I mean, how ridiculous is it that he has been isolated for 2 months and now you want to go shove a Q-tip up his nose and run an unnecessary test to find out that he doesn't have COVID-19. So then the worst, even the saddest part was they were telling me, well, even though, he was saying, one resident said, well, if we find out that we don't have it, can we go out to lunch with our family? No, you can't leave. If we find out you don't have COVID-19, you are still mandated to stay here forever and ever until you die. I'm like, all right, so why are you calling me then? And he's like, look, we've kept COVID-19 out of this building and we're going to keep it that way. And we're not opening up until we decide we're opening up because we're going to keep your relatives safe. I said, yeah, until they die of a heartbroken heart because they're lonely. And he's like, well, what we've found is some of the old people in here, he didn't say it that way, but may as well have, some of the old people are doing really well with seeing their loved ones outside the window. I'm like, all right, so that's not going to work with my dad. My dad, if my dad see me on the outside of a window, he may think that he is actually hallucinating that I'm on the outside of the window. And then the next thing you know, in the middle of the night, he's going to look outside his window, see if I'm there, because my dad's got dementia and he hallucinates. So I said, no. I am not going to go and hang outside the window and say hi to my dad. I am not going to go put my hand on the window. Like, I have to touch the glass window so I can feel this connection. I mean, it's so stupid, you guys. And I know I want to kidnap my dad. Believe me, I've actually thought about it. You know what I've secretly thought about? I know the code to get into that place, and they're so short-handed there that it would be not very hard for me to go in the middle of the night, break in with the code, go up there, and actually see my dad. But it'd be my luck. I would get busted. And then you guys would have to go visit me in jail, because I'd be in jail because of the COVID Nazi people who are like, well, how dare you break the law to go see your dad. And I'm like, what law? There is no law except for the fact that they're keeping me away from my dad for no reason at all. Even though, yes, I know there is a little bit of a reason, but the reason is underlying insanity. And that's the worst part. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, you guys. I really don't know. My dad's birthday's in July. His 92nd birthday is in July. Do you think I'm actually going to get to see my dad on his birthday? His 92nd birthday? How many more birthdays will he have? I don't know. But, they give me this BS. Oh, he's doing just fine. And I'm like, I know, they would keep you in jail and let murderers out to them. I know, right? I mean, it's crazy. And yet at the same time, going back to the whole Romans thing, look, I get it. I understand that people are terrified. And you know what I found? And don't get mad at me. Well, you can. Feel free to get mad at me. You know what I found the most? And you guys can put a 1 or 2 or whatever. What I found is that my friends who lean more left, who are more liberal, are the ones who are freaking out the most. They're the ones getting ticked off if somebody's in public without a mask. They're the ones who are like being overly cautious, not wanting to go anywhere. And I'm like, okay, well, I would rather go out in public and breathe on people, touch people, cough around people, get all the germs I can so that my immune system can be strengthened. But then again, I have to also say, I don't have a weakened immune system. I have some friends that do. I don't. I'm very blessed that way. I've always had a really good immune system. But then again, you never know, people. I could die from this. I really could. Wouldn't that be ironic? If I did die from it, I would hope that you would all have a hearty laugh on that. I mean, after you grieved me and stuff, I would hope that you would be sad for me, but happy at the same time. The irony of it all would be if I did die from it, it would be funny because I'd be like, whatever. to be absent from the body is to be present from the Lord. But the other part of me is kind of like, I get it. I understand that some people are super paranoid, even though they say, I wear a tinfoil hat. They're the ones really wearing the tinfoil hat and drinking the Kool-Aid from the liberal media that is lying to them about everything. I mean, the whole mask thing is insanity. In fact, the people at the eye clinic where I went, by the way, you will see my new eyeglasses, which I will be wearing soon in a couple weeks when I get them. When I went out to get my glasses and pick out my glasses, you know, the frames and stuff, I was like, do you mind if I take this mask off? They're like, no, go ahead. I'm like, so I'm in a room with one person, you make me wear a mask, but now I'm in a room with 10 of you, and you're like telling me I can take my mask off. And I said to one of them, I said, so how do you feel wearing a mask all day? I said, you do realize that this isn't good for you, right? They're like, yep, we totally realize that. And I'm like, well then, how are you dealing with this? This is actually putting your health at risk by you wearing a mask. And they're like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. I'm like, why don't you just take it off? So interestingly, today when I went to pickleball, the people that check you in, right? So they're normally wearing a mask. Well, I went in there, and can you believe it? They actually had their mask off. And I went like this. I was up at the counter. I went, and it was so funny too, because there's a cop sitting there inside with the employee. I went, and they're like, what? I said, you are not wearing a mask. And the lady turned around, she laughed. She's like, well, I wasn't talking to anybody. And as she's putting the mask on, I thought it was funny. So, but it's insane. This is like a bad sci-fi movie. Yeah, it is. This is like a sci-fi movie gone bad. I mean, who wrote this script? It's like we're all these little pawns inside this movie, and we're like, going everything. And anyway, another friend of mine today said to me, she said, no matter what, I am not taking a chip or a vaccine from Bill Gates. I'm like, praise God. You're on my side. That's good. Yeah, it is. If I was 100% if I was 100%, I would be outside. Going outside is good for you. But anyway, I want to change the subject quickly. And I want to read you this one article that I found. I know Bareface brought it up, but so I'm just saying this is how COVID-19 is affecting me, you know, and it's really infuriating because it's keeping me from my father, who I absolutely love and adore, and you know, but and playing pickleball is like somebody said, well, you should be glad you can play pickleball. And I said, yeah, it's like playing pickleball in prison. You know, like I may as well like put bars around the court because that's what it's like. It's like, and you can't let, you know, pickleball player 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 come and play over here because they step foot on the other court with 3 other people that they, you know. Oh.
No cross-contamination.
It's ridiculous. All right, so this article came from Prophecy News Watch. And I wanted your thoughts on this. It's titled "Lutherans Now Promoting Praying to Mother God After Wiping Israel from the New Testament." So there's this quote over on the ELCA, does that stand for the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, the Lutherans?
In America.
Yeah. So it says, "Mother God, you have fed us with the nourishment of your spiritual food. Raise us up into salvation and rid us of our bitterness so that we may share the sweetness of your holy word with all the world." Hashtag bread for the day. Hashtag prayer. So I'm like, I know that they put this up here to irritate conservative Bible-believing Christians. So this is what it says. Listen to this. It says, "The Evangelical Lutheran Church in America continues to stir up controversy with its, quote, progressive policies, unquote, and are pushing members who want to hold to sound doctrine no choice but to leave the denomination."
Which they should have done a long time ago.
Right. Several weeks ago, the Danish Bible Society, which is run by the Evangelical Lutheran Church, came under heavy fire for the Danish translation, and that's in quotes, of the Bible that virtually wipes out Israel, and that's in quotes, from the New Testament. That's insulting. I mean, it's that, oh. Anyway, in the Greek New Testament, the word, quote, Israel, unquote, occurs more than 60 times. However, it's only found once in the New Danish version called Biblin 2020. That's right, just once. And that one occurrence is a direct quote from an Old Testament verse. Otherwise, Israel, and that's in quotes, is gone. The reason for this, the society argues, is that Christian readers must not connect, quote, Israel, unquote, in the New Testament with the nation of Israel today. The ELCA has long promoted the idea of, quote, replacement theology, also called supersensationism,
Whatever.
which essentially teaches that the church has replaced Israel in God's plan. Adherents of replacement theology believe the Jews are no longer God's chosen people, and God does not have specific future plans for the nation of Israel, which means they don't know what they're talking about, because if they read the Bible, then they would know that they're so wrong. But anyway, this is not the first time Lutheran leadership has promoted such views. In 2018, Robert O. Smith, a pastor of the Evangelical Lutheran Church and a stalwart in the World Council of Churches and the Lutheran World Federation, addressed a conference at St. Olaf Institute for Freedom and Community. I always think of the Golden Girls when I hear St. Olaf, because the character Betty White played on that show always talked about St. Olaf. Just sharing. Who was St. Olaf anyway? If somebody knows who that was, I'd like to know. Smith was seated before a boycott divestment sanctions banner and made these declarations. The ancient Israelites are not linked in any substantive or material way to the contemporary modern state of Israel. Ellipsis. The biblical narrative of Israel has almost nothing to do with contemporary Israel other than the intentional manipulation of sacred text to justify a political project. There are other significant problems with this translation, including the removal of words like sin, which becomes watered down to a mere mistake. Now the church is raising...
Whoopsie.
I know. Now the church is raising red flags with its promotion of praying by addressing God as mother instead of father on its official Facebook page as well as via Twitter. Mother God, you have fed us with the nourishment of your spiritual food. How do you do that? Raise us up into salvation and rid us of our bitterness so that we may share the sweetness of your holy word with all the world, the ELCA tweeted on Tuesday as part of their hashtag Bread for the Day series of Twitter posts. The tweet has gotten a fair amount of negative attention. Gee, I wonder why. Hans Fain, a conservative pastor who oversees the popular Lutheran Satire YouTube channel, responded with a simple message to people who still value biblical literacy. Leave the ELCA, he succinctly replied when retweeting the ELCA post. For those who choose to remain in this apostate denomination, they will find themselves treated to more of the same in their churches as the leadership continues to steer them in the wrong direction. Is that the right use of the word steer there?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure it's not like the steer is in like,
Bovine.
Yeah.
Same spelling.
Okay. The presiding bishop of the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, the Reverend Elizabeth Eaton, has expressed her belief that although hell may exist,
Might.
it is entirely empty because God doesn't give up on those who reject him. Oh, good to know that she doesn't read the Bible either. The statement came from a recent interview for the podcast, Face to Faith. She said in the interview, if we take a look at salvation history, ever since we got booted out of the garden, it has been God's relentless pursuit to bring his people to God. And that, given eternity, God will continue working on everyone until eventually all will be saved. The bishop dismisses biblical evidence against her position simply by saying that Lutherans aren't literalists, as she confuses parables with clear theological statements such as Matthew 25, which tells us that the wicked shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal. And now, if you're like me, you just heard Keith Green's music in your head. Anyway, how disconcertingly comforting to believe that no matter what we believe, no matter how evil our actions on earth and no matter how strong our rejection of God, that there will always be a paradise waiting for us in heaven. Last year, Westview Lutheran Church in Boulder, Colorado, ordained the nation's first transgender Latina pastor, while the Park Church, a Lutheran ministry in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, held its first drag queen story hour with drag queen the Reverend Yolanda, who is known for her church with a 2-drink minimum slogan, which we have actually covered on this show. Yeah. Wow. So there's a lot there, people. But Bareface, you're the co-host. You want to comment on this ridiculous article we just read?
Shameful. I just don't get it. I mean, if you don't like what's in the sacred texts of the scripture, then why even use it? I mean, why not just come with something entirely, wholesale altogether? I guess because it's a gradual transition for those who still stuck kind of in familiarity of tradition, that just take out stuff they don't like, and eventually they've got something completely altogether different. They're real close to the Universalists, the Unitarian with the two merged, the Universalist Unitarian Church, about universal salvation. That's what the Universalists were all about. That even if there was a hell, it's empty. So this reverend comes from that persuasion, and it's like, it's just so contrary to Scripture. Yes, the message of Scripture is God's unfailing love, but it's in His wickedness, or our wickedness, that we know God's love. It's because of our sinfulness, our unrighteousness, that we recognize God's love. God demonstrates His love for us, and that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. And so, going back to the garden, they didn't, make a mistake by rejecting God and His word. Like, whoopsie, it was at the end of the day, it was rebellion. And so it's like, well, that's okay, whatever. No, there were consequences for that. It's like, well, if you don't like God and His holiness and living in paradise, then, a curse fell upon the earth and mankind. And so, hopefully, I know there are some, we wouldn't with our children just wink at every misbehavior and no discipline, punishment. Sin, rebellion has consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And if you persist in that, then reject God, then you'll spend an eternity without Him. I mean, that doesn't make Him less loving. It's because of who we are. Again, our sinful nature, that makes His love that more evident. I mean, as the Lord Himself said, if you love those who love you, what do you do more than others? But if you die for someone while they're yet sinners, that tells you all you need to know about love.
Yep.
That demonstrates His love and His...
Which is in what book, actually?
Which?
While we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. What book is that in? Do you know?
Romans.
Chapter 5.
Yes, it is.
Nailed it, Harp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did.
But I mean, that concept is throughout Scripture.
Yeah.
That God's severe mercy, if you would say, and His steadfast love, that it's not a permissive love, it's a real love.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right, so...
we gotta go on and but yeah, it's really sad state affairs in the Lutheran Church.
So tonight, what we're going to do is a couple of things a little bit differently. So I interviewed a guy I met at a local networking meeting not too long ago. And is that Phyllis over on Facebook? Hey, Phyllis, I know Vivian was there. And I see Gina over on Periscope. Yeah, there's two people over there on Periscope. Yeah. All right. Thank you, liberal platforms. All right, anyway. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay? So I am in a giveaway mood. All right? So I'm going to send you a surprise package. It's not going to have a lot in it, but it will have something in it. But in order to win this surprise package that I'm going to send you, you got to answer a Bible trivia question. Yeah, you do. So here's what we're going to do. All right, this is for those of you who are listening live, which is what, whopping 5 or 6 of you. There's 7 on YouTube, 1 over on Periscope, 1 on Facebook. So maybe 10 of you, okay, 10 whole people may possibly be watching this show. And maybe there's a couple over on Twitch. I'm not really sure. But here's the thing, okay? So I'm going to make you work just slightly for this. You don't have to work that hard. But if you put the answers in the chat, that's not going to work because then everybody's going to see it. So here's the thing. You guys got to text me or email me an answer. I think you should just email it. It's way easier. Okay, so you're going to email me your answer to Stacy, Stacy, at BibleNewsRadio.com, or you could just simply go to my website, BibleNewsRadio.com, and put the answer in through the form on the website, okay? Either way is good. All right, just remember Stacy Noe at BibleNewsRadio.com, right? Okay. So here, people, is the Bible trivia question of the day. Ready? Okay, and then I'm going to go through the answers, and hopefully by the end of the show, I'll pick a winner. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to give you a half hour. Wait a minute. I'm going to give you a half hour because we're going to play an interview. It's going to take a half hour for the interview. All right, so here's the question. Ready? I'm making this super easy, just so you know. Okay.
Has something to do with cotton swabs?
It has nothing to do with cotton swabs. I should put those down. Okay, so
What do you see?
I know, I'm thinking about it. I'm debating how easy. I'm trying to make this because I'm making this up right now as I think about it. So hold on 1 minute. I have an idea. The best part about this, I can just make it up as I go along. Yeah. Okay. But we're going to make this easy. Okay? All right. Okay. Let's see. Okay, got it. Okay. In Psalm 23, we are told that God makes us... wrong. In Psalm 23, we are told that God leads us somewhere. Okay? Psalm 23, God says that he leads us somewhere. Where does he lead us? I want the New American Standard Version answer. So you're going to have to look up the New American Standard Version, people. Go to bible.cc in order to do it. Okay? And then email me your answer. And all the people who get me the right answer, I will put into a little drawing, and I'll draw a winner, and you'll get a little prize. You'll get, well, I'm not going to tell you what you're going to get. It will be a surprise. But I already know what I'm going to send you. So, again, in Psalm 23, God says he leads us somewhere. Where is it? Okay? Email me, Stacy at BibleNewsRadio.com. Yeah. Or go to our website, put in the form there. And then hopefully by the end of the show, I will have 2 or 3 answers. And then I will pick a winner from those. I'll draw a number and we'll figure it out. Okay. So while you're doing that, I want to tell you, tonight's guest, I met in a networking group. We had a very interesting theological discussion. And to be honest, I almost didn't have him on the show because his views are completely contrary to what I believe biblically. He believes left what I believe, okay? But I found what he did in his book very compelling. He wrote a book called Swing for the Fences, and his name is Gregory Bancroft. He has a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Religious Studies from the University of Minnesota, a Master's of Divinity in Counseling and General Ministry from Yale University, Doctor of Ministry, Pastoral Counseling. He's a former member of the American Association of Pastoral Counselors, and he used to work with people who were in substance abuse issues. He was an Episcopal priest, now retired. He served parishes, camps, U.S. Navy, and he is the author of 2 critically acclaimed award-winning books, which is actually what we talked about in our interview. And he used to be an adjunct college professor, certified ropes course instructor, stand-up comic, and he's actually a very fascinating guy. And I think, we made sure the conversation wasn't really theological at all. But I think his message, he has a passion to help people overcome shame. And so I wanted to just bless him by giving him a little bit of a platform to share about his books, which are really interesting. And, if you're a baseball fan, unfortunately, I guess we're not having baseball. He does not like the Yankees. That's the one thing, that almost did it right there. I was, that, but I have Sean in our audience, so, Anyway, so it's a good interview. So I hope you sit back and enjoy it. It's the next half hour. Again, email me the answer. I didn't say send me a text with the answer, people. Like, who did that? Wait, somebody already texted me? Oh, yeah. All right, I'll let you. If you're a friend of mine on Messenger, you can also send me a message on Messenger. Okay. Somebody already did that. Okay. All right. So here is our interview with Gregory Bancroft. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, so now we are here with Gregory Bancroft, who is the author of 2 books we're going to talk about today. This book, Swing for the Fences. Show up, dig in, and suck less. Yeah. And also this book right here, Betsy's Day at the Game. Yeah, isn't that cute? Everybody see that? That's pretty cool, huh? Yeah. So this is your first time on my show, so I want to thank you for joining me. Glad you're here.
For having me.
Yeah. Hey, tell people a little bit about your background, because I don't interview people that talk about baseball a whole lot unless they're Yankee fans, which, well, we had a pre-interview conversation and we won't go there.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you. Yeah, for many years, I was an Episcopal priest and Navy chaplain. I've lived all over the place, and I've worked in Fortune 500 companies, and I've also now most recently retired, and you see air quotes around that, and entered full-time into speaking and writing. So in addition to books, I also publish a blog on my website, and I speak around the country, although not lately because of the whole virus thing. But I did do a webcasting, or I don't know what you call it. I spoke online to a group of pastors not too long ago, and that was pretty cool because we were able to include people from around the country who wouldn't otherwise have been there.
Yeah, that's cool. So it's not every day I have a retired priest on the show. So what was it like being an Episcopal priest? My mom was Episcopalian.
Okay. Well, it was the best of times and the worst of times, to quote a phrase. Lots of good things about it. I loved preaching. I loved teaching. I loved the people, being with people. What I did not like was the tedium of church politics. Well, that's enough.
Yeah, okay. I get it.
Yeah. People, you know what I'm saying? People.
Well, a couple of days ago, I was reading an old journal of mine. I had just found this on the couch, stuffed away in a box, and I opened it up and saw that the date was in here from 2011. And as I'm reading through this gratitude journal from 2011, a lot of what I wrote about was getting really hurt in the church. So it ended up not being a big, huge gratitude journal. So all I have to say is I get it. I totally
Okay.
get it. So,
Yeah.
but you were a chaplain too, which is kind of cool.
It is cool. I loved it. I was in the Native Reserves. I was assigned to Marines out of Okinawa. And so I was able to go to Okinawa a couple of times, a couple of different times, and been all over the United States with them. And in that capacity, I had an opportunity to do a lot of speaking and teaching and ministering. One that I remember most vividly was doing a speech to a group of chaplains from around the world. I had people from NATO and the Pentagon, and British Royal Navy, and Australia, just all over the place. And can I tell this quick story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so it was at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, and I discovered that I had the wrong pads for my shoulders. And a friend of mine just happened to be in his office there, and I called him and he let me use his old ones. He said, they're not going to pass inspection. I said, I'm not worried about that at this point. And so I got them. And then I was putting a new belt tip on my belt, and I slipped, and the prong hit my finger, and I got blood on my pants, so they're white. And I couldn't remember, let's see, do you use hot water with blood or do you use cold water? So I thought maybe I'll go with lukewarm, because I'll either be half right or half wrong. Well, anyway, it titrated out into this pink mass, big pink mass all across the front. And oh, great. Well, I just have to go. And so there's this reception at the officers club with all these bigwigs, right? And I'm late, so I got to get there. Well, you can't run, and you can't cut across the grass. So I'm weaving through as fast as I can to get over there. And it's about 1 billion degrees out, so I'm sweating, whatever. And I get to the room and I see that everybody's just now sitting down, and I spot an open chair and I dive in and I sit down. I sit next to this guy who's from the Scottish Royal Navy, and he looks at my name tag and he says, "Oh, I'm looking forward to your speech tonight." And I said, "No, that's tomorrow night." And he said, "No," and he shows me the program that I'm on there. And I went, "Oh no." So I got up, and when it was time to speak, and I had a great big napkin, and I was pretending to wipe my mouth and kind of hunched over, and I got to the podium. My notes were back in my room and whatever. So I did this speech, and I was reading Susan Howitch's book on glittering images, that what you see on the outside doesn't necessarily reflect what's on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And I told that story. Then I told the story about the belt and all that. People started laughing. Then I stood out from behind the podium, and you could see this big pink mark on my white uniform, and people were laughing so hard they were crying. I got a standing ovation. I heard about it for days later. It was awesome. People were really grateful that I was so vulnerable with them and able to share that good humor.
Well, that's cool. I can't. Your mic kind of went out, just so you know. So I don't know.
Oh, should I keep it down like this?
Yeah, probably. So I can hear you just a little bit better.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's okay. It happens. It is what it is.
Sure.
It's interesting. One of my favorite books is The Velveteen Rabbit.
Oh yeah.
I love that book because, it's all about being real. So what you just said was kind of cool. Tied into that. Definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
My very first networking meeting, just so everybody knows, I met Greg Gray at a networking meeting locally online during the quarantine. And my very first one I had to speak at. I got there, I had my whole presentation planned, and then of course all the technology failed. So the PowerPoint didn't work, so I had to speak in memory for 20 minutes. And yeah, right, I was like, and I got teary-eyed and everything, and everybody's staring at me, and I'm like, that's okay. But yeah, I got a membership after, so it was worth it.
There you go. Yeah. Well, that's amazing. People can be vulnerable with each other. And isn't that, I'm paraphrasing Paul, of course, but didn't Paul say something about I'm made strong in my weakness?
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. So let's talk about your book. That's why you're here, huh? Swing
Sure.
for the fences. Okay, so my first question is, how did you get interested in baseball? Because clearly you love baseball a lot.
I do love baseball. In fact, the chair that I'm sitting in right now hails from the middle 1800s, and it was sat by the desk in our family's hardware store. And I would sit in this chair as a little boy, and I would talk to my grandfather about baseball, either my own little league games or what was going on in the major leagues. So this chair has a great deal of sentimental value to me. But and my grandfather really never talked to us grandkids at all, and he would talk to me about baseball, and that's about all. So I lived in a little town in Minnesota. It's called Stillwater. It's a farming community on the border between Minnesota and Wisconsin. Now it's basically a suburb of the Twin Cities, but when I was growing up, nobody went to the Twin Cities. It was too far away. And I mean, when I say there was nothing to do, there was nothing to do in this little town. So we played baseball almost every day in the summer. And then once a week, we could get books from the library. So we would go down there and carry as many books as our little spindly arms could hold. We'd read them and then trade them, and we'd be done by Thursday, waiting for next Tuesday. Sometimes we'd read them twice. And then we'd go fishing or whatever. But we always played baseball every single day. And when I got old enough, I was able to join a little league, and then that was really fun. We played real games, and we had a T-shirt and we had a cap, and it was a lot of fun. And then my grandfather took me to the World Series. When the Minnesota Twins used to be the Washington Senators, they came to Minnesota, and I was in junior high. I got out of school, so that was pretty cool. And then I went to the game with my grandfather, and we saw Sandy Koufax, who was pitching for the Dodgers at the time, pitched a 3-hitter on 2 days rest because he wouldn't pitch his normal start, which happened to fall on Yom Kippur, so only had 2 days rest. And it was a phenomenal game. Of course, we lost, but just the whole thing about that was spectacular. And then we talked about it all the way home. So I've just always loved baseball. I love listening to a game. I love watching a game. I love being at a game, keeping score. You'll notice my children's book is about keeping score. And one of the ways that I sold that to the publisher was I opened up my scorebook, and it was on the week that my son announced his engagement to our now daughter-in-law. And you could see the history of our family through the lens of baseball. And this little girl demonstrates that in the book. And that's what Penny Marshall liked about it so much. She commented on that one time, and she really liked that feature. And that's what sold the book to the publisher. And a lot of people have commented on that. They think that's sweet. So I still do that. When I go to a game, I take my scorebook, I keep score, and I write down what's happening in our life, like a journal in the margins of baseball.
That's so
we're all about baseball around here.
Well, I'm going to read just in the back of this book. It says, this is about you. It says, Gregory Bancroft is an avid baseball fan, shares an experience of going to a game that mirrors his own time spent with his kids. Growing up, Greg loved being outdoors, especially playing baseball in the summers. He holds degrees from the University of Minnesota, Yale, and Luther Seminary. He and his wife live in Minneapolis near Lake Nokomis. Clearly, I'm not from there.
Yeah.
While his children and grandchildren are scattered across the country. That is so cool. So, I think of bowling because, you got to keep score bowling. But yeah, baseball you do too. It's 9 innings unless you get like overtime and all that. So why did you write for a child and then an adult?
Yeah, so the children's book came first, and I wanted to teach kids how to score. It's kind of a lost art, and I didn't want it to come out sounding like those game cards that you see people, you know, you get with a deck of cards or something, you read through it, and oh my gosh, you just, you know, want to slit your wrist. So I'm in the shower one day and I thought, why don't you just go to a game? Ah, right, because that's what you do. When you go to a game, you keep score. So I went to a game, and there's some parts and pieces in there of things that actually happened to us. And it's just sort of descriptive of what a game was like for us. And interestingly enough, there are people that work with elderly. They came across this book and they love it for its intergenerational relationship. It's a healthy relationship between the little girl and her grandfather, where he's not a doddering old fool, and you know, she's glad to be with him, but they're not like her pals at school kind of thing. And it's just a really fun relationship that they have with each other, and people like that. There is also a college class in St. Paul that developed a reading curriculum that goes along with this, and that you can download for free off my website. And schools all across the country use it. In fact, I can even say across the world, because I was at a book signing one time, and there was a woman from England who's a school teacher in England, and she comes to the States or goes somewhere in the summer and does something interesting, and she saw this and she bought the book, and I know that she uses the curriculum in her classroom. So international, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
You know what? Own that.
Yeah,
Just like this show is international.
there you go. Yep.
I mean,
So I did that with kids, and then somebody said, you know, you really ought to write something for adults, and you know, something where there are life lessons, because there's so many life lessons in baseball. And so you'll see each of the chapters is kind of a theme, like perseverance, or dealing with injustice, you know, unfairness in the world. Um,
Yeah.
How to deal with failure, you know, that kind of thing.
yeah, let me read some of the chapters, because you know this is how many chapters you got in here? We got quite a few actually.
Well, there's 23, because there's 23 up and 23 down in a ball game.
Okay, so this one has 27 though.
Oh, I'm sorry, 27. Yeah, I said 23.
Well, that's okay.
27.
You said it.
I was thinking 3 outs in an inning.
Yeah. Okay, so there's 27 chapters. My favorite number is 14. So a meaning making game practice ritual. That's one chapter.
Mhm.
Then number 7, suck less, control. Let's see. Then there's like number 1, swing for the fences, embrace failure. It all starts with Little League, absorb affirmation, spring training, reinforce learnings, opening day, revisit hope. Yeah, baseball is timeless, stop rushing. The postseason as a do-over, celebrate opportunity. I like that. So yeah, so there's a lot of cool things. And then everybody, if you look here in the book, check this out. You got in the batter's box, which, you know, tell us about that. And then you intentionally leave blank pages here for a reason.
Right. So you can see home plate, and then those rectangles on either side of it are the batter's boxes, one for a left-handed batter and one for a right-handed batter. And you've got to step up, you know, and you've heard that expression, people have to show up, they have to step up, you know, do their part. So you've just read a chapter on dealing with failure, for example. And I ask you some questions in that section. And here's an opportunity for you to step up to the batter's box, step up to the plate, and write your thoughts, your reactions, your feelings to that chapter, and what insights, what words resonate with you, and what might you do to strengthen your ability to deal with failure, or where do you need help, where can you ask for help, that sort of thing.
So it's kind of like a personal development type book.
It is, yep. And you can do it right there by yourself using that little journaling technique, or you can do it in a group, which a number of places have told me they do.
Yeah, see, I think that's cool. And you know what? Honestly, having studied how to learn and stuff, I remember one of the courses I was in, and I don't know what class it was, but I remember we had reading assignments, and the way that we were taught was go at the end of every chapter or even every paragraph, write down the main thought you got at the end of that. And then by the end of reading the book, all you had to do is read your little cliff notes and you will have read the book again by.
Oh, that's clever. I like that. I'm going to share that with my grandkids.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's good because it's basically what you're doing here, you know, just doing that. So that's kind of cool. Okay. And before the show, you started to tell me about the cover of the book, which is very nice. By the way, this feels so nice.
Yeah. Right. Well, thank you. A lot of thought, a lot of research went into this, so I'm just really proud of it. The title, first of all, Swing for the Fences. There are a lot of hopes and dreams that people have, and sometimes they give up too soon. People know about Babe Ruth, right? Babe Ruth was a home run king for years, and he hit a lot of home runs, swung hard, whatever. A lot of people don't know that he led the major leagues 5 separate seasons in strikeouts. He was the strikeout king 5 separate times. So obviously he's swinging for the fences, but he's missing. And we won't get into the physics here, but it's just ridiculously hard to hit a round ball with a round bat. And if you did it successfully, I mean, you'd have to put it somewhere where nobody's standing so they don't catch it or they throw you out. So to do it successfully 3 times out of 10, that's called batting 300. You would probably make the major leagues. And if you did that your whole career, undoubtedly you'll get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. That's how hard it is. But you would have failed twice as many times, right? So swing for the fences, go for those dreams, you know, get out there and keep swinging. Don't give up. And show up means you got to be there physically, emotionally, you know, in relationships, in a family, in a work team, on a sports team. You've got to be there, okay? And you have to dig in. You got to do your part. Doesn't mean you have to be successful all the time. Remember, again, Babe Ruth was not successful every time, but he did his best. He every day he got a little bit better, and baseball is about progress, not perfection. And I got this idea from Tony Oliva, who endorsed the book. He was a very famous Minnesota Twins baseball player. He would get to the ballpark early, and he would he would be in the car, and he would imagine himself talking to a child who is on a dairy farm. Now, dairy farming is twice a day, every day, 365 days a year. You got to milk the cows, no matter what. Nobody takes a vacation. Nobody gets time off. You can't be sick. I mean, you got to milk the cows. You got to be there. So to get away, come into the cities and go to a baseball game is a really huge thing. So he knew that he had to put everything aside and show up for that kid. Dig in at the plate, do his very best. He'd have to dig in the outfield and chase down fly balls, do his very best. And then I said, and suck less. He thought about it and he laughed and he said, yeah, I guess that's it. Because we're not talking about perfection. We're just talking about sucking less than you did before. Because you're never going to be perfect. Then the picture is actually a picture of a softball diamond. So I was talking with a baseball coach at Lipscomb University, and this girl came by who plays on the softball team, the women's softball team, and she said, oh, is this a book about softball? And I said, well, it could be. And then I explained it to her, and she laughed, and she said, oh, that's very clever. And my son, when he saw the picture, he said, you meant to do that on purpose, didn't you, Dad? And I said, I did. And he said, that's very clever. Because there's not a pitcher's mound. The softball field is flat. The pitcher's rubber is on the flat ground, whereas in baseball it would be on a mound.
You know what? I did not know that, so I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, how about that?
Yes, yeah, learned something new. I always learn something new. Okay, also you have on here the seal, which says Independent Publisher Book Awards. So you are award-winning.
Both of them won awards. Yep. The children's book won a Mom's Choice Gold Award.
Oh, right there.
So there are 5,000 products vetted from around the world, and mine won for children's literature that year. So that I'm very proud of. And the silver one, it's called an IPPY, Independent Publishers Award. And that was really cool because the award ceremony was at the Copacabana in Manhattan. How cool was that? But this is a collection of independent publishers all around the world, and they have different categories. And I got a silver category for the self-help piece. And the IPPY is a very coveted award, and I'm very proud of that fact. My first adult book won an award, and my first children's book won an award. So I'm batting 1,000, they say. I'm 2 for 2.
So I could say I've had an IPPY award winner on my show.
You can. And a Mom's Choice winner.
There you go.
Yeah, look at you, award-winning author.
There you go. Hey, you know what? I take any award I can get, just so you know.
Yeah, right. Even if you call me in time for dinner.
Yep, that's right. So, yeah, you know, okay, so now you have a website, so I want you to tell everybody where you can go, because that's where you can get I know you can get them on Amazon. Can you get them on Amazon too? Or?
Yeah, but if you buy Swing for the Fences on my website, then I'll send you Betsy's Day at the Game for free. It's sort of a BOGO, buy one, get one situation. So it's, of course, www.ggregorybancroft.com. And the G Gregory, my name is George Gregory Bancroft, but I use my first initial. So there's 2 G's, ggregorybancroft.com.
Yeah, and everybody, obviously the name is on the screen, but for those of you who aren't watching and you're listening to my podcast, how do you spell your name?
Right. So B, as in, I'm assuming you're talking about the last name, but B like boy, A, N like Nancy, C like Charlie, R, O, F as in Frank, T as in Thomas, Bancroft.
There you go, people. You should go there. Yeah, you should. Because you know what? I guarantee you that there's a lot of you out there who are grandparents and parents. And this year, I think, is kind of unprecedented in the fact that as of right now, there is no baseball, right?
Yeah.
I know, right? What is your thoughts about this whole quarantine thing and like no baseball? I know we're going a little bit longer, but I'm kind of curious what you think.
Well, there was something in the Tennessean this week or last week where this high school coach said, you got to cut the grass whether you're playing or not. And so the grounds crew is not at work, but he got the lawnmower and he was cutting the grass, and then he was standing, I'm probably going to get emotional here. He was standing on the hill overlooking the field, and he was sad because the seniors who had worked so hard, and all over, over the winter months had lifted weights and all that, and got in the batting cage. They were ready. They wanted to strut their stuff and have the best season ever, their final year of high school. Well, they couldn't play. And nobody's sitting in the stands eating popcorn. Nobody's yelling and cheering. You don't hear attaboy, good swing, good cut, good eye. It's quiet. He cut the grass. The field looks great because it's not getting torn up. But he talks about a sadness of the game not being there. And yet, we all understand, we absolutely understand. And the only weapon we have against this stupid virus really is social distancing. Stay away from each other. Until we get a vaccine, until we get some cures or whatever, that's what we've got to do. That's the only thing we can do. And so we do that here. We moved from Minneapolis. We're down in Nashville now. We live in a 3-generation family with our daughter and her husband and 2 grandkids, 3 cats, and a German Shepherd the size of a small truck, all under one roof. And we just stay here. We have great good fortune of having a beautiful piece of property. We can get outside and play catch. We can throw batting practice. We can climb in the trees. I mean, there's some elbow room around here. So thank God we're not in an apartment in the middle of the city kind of thing. Gads. So we don't have baseball. I miss it a lot. And my new normal doesn't include baseball anymore. I was thinking about that on Sunday, how I was listening to the birds and I was reflecting on the fact that there's no sound of baseball in the background, because I would have the radio on low and just kind of background, but there was just birds, and I was a little sad.
Yeah.
But I'll be sad in order to save a life,
Yeah, of course. Well, do you have a favorite baseball movie?
Oh gosh. Oh
Maybe that'll make you happy. You think about it.
yeah. Well, Field of Dreams, I guess, would be it. And the scene at the end where the dad comes out and says, "Hey, you want to play a catch?" And the two of them, the dad and the son, are playing catch. I don't think there was a man in that audience who wasn't crying. They think about their own son, they think about their own dad, and what a special moment that is. And so I would say Field of Dreams. My sister and her husband have actually been to that field. After the movie was made in Iowa, the guy was going to plow it under and plant corn, and people said no. So now they've turned it into a park, and thousands of people go there every year. I mean, that's the power of baseball.
Yeah, I know. I think almost everybody, well, I can't say that. I can't speak for everybody, but I think at least for me, I have very fond memories of like my very first baseball game at Angel Stadium in California.
Mm,
I told you this. I had ice cream and a Cincinnati Red hat.
yeah.
And there's just something about the hot dog and the popcorn and yelling and screaming with thousands of people. That
Yeah.
fun.
And Angel Stadium with that cool tower, and it's got that round thing at the top.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it is. But yeah, so it's a good thing. And you know what? I'm glad that we met. I'm glad that I can have you on to tell people about your book. I want people to go get it. So just one more time, tell them where they can get it, and then we got to wrap it up here.
Yes, ma'am. www.gregorybancroft.com. And thank you so much.
And then there's the other one. Those of you who are grandparents, you want to get this. Just so
Yes, you do. And I'll put that in for free if you buy Swing off my website.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for being my guest.
Well, thanks so much for having me. What fun. I'm so glad we met. And, at some point we'll be able to shake hands, have a cup of coffee or something.
All right. Hello, people. I'm back. Okay. The funny thing is I interviewed him wearing this same shirt. And today I actually was wearing this shirt. So I didn't even know I was wearing the same shirt. But anyway. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that. You guys saw the website, the whole interview. So hopefully you'll take some time to go check that out. All right. During the interview, I got a couple of responses for people who've entered the contest. So the question was, on Psalm 23, the question was, where does God lead us? Okay, the answer to the question was, He leads me beside quiet waters. So four of you responded. 3 of you got it correct. So the 3 of you that got correct would be Melanie, would be Sean, and would be Phyllis. Okay, so now we're going to do a draw. Okay, I have a bingo card here. Yeah, I do. So, I'm going to highlight one of the numbers on the bingo card, then 3 of you guys have to give the answer. Pick a number, okay? And then whoever gets it close, which I will show you the number afterwards, whoever gets it will win.
Well, they don't know what picks are possible unless you hold the bingo card up.
No. I'm going to give a number between, I'm highlighting a number right now. I'm going to highlight the number on the card here.
Right, but...
And then I'm going to tell people to pick a number between 1 and 40, okay? So it's a number between 1 and 40. It's on this card. So Melanie and Sean and Phyllis, go ahead, type in your answers wherever you're at. A number between 1 and 40. And whoever gets closest will win. It's that easy. It's that easy, people. There is no, favoritism or anything. Whoever gets closest to my number that I highlighted here, which I'll show you in a minute, as soon as you 3 weigh in, with your answers between a number of 1 and 40 people. Whoever's closest to it will win. Yeah, you will. And here's the thing. The gift that you're going to get is going to come from send out cards. And we want to show you that in just a second. But first, I'm waiting for the numbers here to come in. There's only 3 of you. I know Melanie's going to send it to you, Randall, and that's fine.
Keep in mind there's like a
A delay.
20-second delay.
Okay, so Sean picked 14. Olive Gardner, you don't count because you didn't enter the contest. Sorry. Because you had to get into this drawing in order to, you had to
There.
answer the question to get into this drawing.
37 from Melanie.
Okay, so Melanie says 37. All right, so we got 37 for Melanie. Wait a minute, I gotta find a pen. I'm gonna write this down. Well, actually, I don't need to write it down because I have.
Stellar memory.
Huh? Oops, I
could
just
you have
ripped the paper. Yeah, it's not that hard. Okay. Okay, I'm waiting for Phyllis to weigh in. Is Phyllis weighed in yet? Wait, hold on.
What platform is she on?
She was on Facebook.
I don't.
But if she isn't there, then we will see.
I'm not seeing
Okay.
thing on Facebook. I can't tell whether Phyllis is there or not. I just see a number of viewers unless they say anything in the Facebook Live producer window. Then it doesn't tell you who's there.
I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait to see if a comment came in. My Facebook page is taking forever to load. Yeah, it is. Of course it would. It would take forever to load, wouldn't it? One moment, please, while Facebook takes forever to load. Mm-hmm.
Of course, on Facebook, I could have posted a poll.
You could have, yeah.
Could have.
But nobody really watches on Facebook for the full show. That's the sad, tragic part about Facebook. Usually it's a 2-minute watch and then people scroll through, which is why YouTube is the better platform to watch on. And it's still taking forever to load here. Mm-hmm. Well, so while that's taking forever to load, why don't you go ahead and go to the link that or highlight the link I put the link up on the on
Just display
Bible
it.
News Radio thing. Yeah, display the link. That's what I meant to say. Okay. So I want you guys to know that I love send out cards. This is why I thought it'd be cool to use send out cards to send you a gift, whoever won. I've been using send out cards for a number of years. Recently, I decided to become an affiliate with send out cards, and you can actually go and you can use a send out card account for free. You don't even have to pay anything. I actually upgraded because I've been sending out a lot of cards to my Legal Shield customers. Whenever I get a Legal Shield customer, I try to thank them, and one of the best ways to do it is without send out cards. So if you're interested and you want to go check it out, there's a link to my particular page. You can do that and sign up for a free account. And okay, finally it loaded over here, but I'm still not seeing any answers because I gotta wait for the chat to load. Okay, so Phyllis, we need a number from you. I see that you're in there, Phyllis, so I need a number between 1 and 40 so we can see if you are going to be the winner or if Melanie or Sean is going to be the winner to our thing. So put in a number, okay? We need you to just type it in the chat there on Facebook. A number between 1 and 40 people. Okay. And it needs to be soon, or I'm just not going to count you as a as a thing. And I just can't see anything. Maybe you can just send it to me in text message. That might be easier if you're I can see you're still watching on Facebook, so maybe you just put it in my messenger. Because if you are writing something, I'm not seeing it. I'm gonna put hi. See if you can. Yeah. Okay. Phyllis, are you out there? You need to put in a number between 1 and 40, so I have a third person. Yeah, this is the most horrible platform to work on, is Facebook. And I'm not getting a message in my messenger either. Oops, okay. Trying to give enough time for everybody to get the answer. All right, Phyllis, I guess you're falling asleep or something. Are you seeing any answers over there on Facebook?
I am not.
Well, I'm not either. Okay. All right. Well, so then here
So
is...
just 14 and 37.
Huh?
So just 14 and 37, right?
Yep, 1437. Okay, let's see who won. The number I was looking for is 31. So that means that Melanie Weiser won the prize. Even though you didn't think I would send you one, Mel. Thanks for the snarky comment you left with Randall. But here's the thing, girlfriend. I will definitely send you a prize. So just let him know if it's the right address, if I still have if it's the same address or a new address. All right? So congratulations. All right. So I am going to so did you actually put up the link though where people can go?
I did. Do you want me to put it back?
I didn't see it.
You
I
weren't
saw
paying
the
attention.
thing, but I actually didn't see the actual link that people can go to. Where's it at?
It's there.
Where?
There.
Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, cool. Yep, so if you want to go send out cards, just check it out. It's pretty cool. It's a cool thing. Sorry, Phyllis. Unfortunately, I didn't see your number. We gave you a lot of time to put an answer in, so you didn't win, and Melanie did. Yep. All right. Okay, so tomorrow night is going to be an epic show. Yeah, it is. Tomorrow night, I have a Christian magician on the show. His name is Stephen Wood. And I met him in a networking group. Man, I'm going to tell you, I have met so many cool people in networking groups. If you're not out there networking your business, you should definitely get out there. Anyway, he lives in California. And I met him in a Christian Business Partners networking group. He's a Christian, and I interrogated him actually about how can he be a Christian and a magician? Isn't this of the devil, magic? And anyway, we ended up talking for over an hour. And after I got done talking to him, I was like, I got to have him on my show. So tomorrow night, 6 p.m., Stephen is going to be doing some magic. Yeah, he is. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the, Christians and magic. And is it sorcery? What is it really? And I think you will be, I think you're going to enjoy the show. This guy here is the nicest guy. And let me put it this way. I never thought I would have a magician on my show, but we're going to have fun tomorrow night. So make sure y'all come back. Even you, Melanie. Come on back, girlfriend. Watch the show tomorrow. It's going to be great. Yeah, it is. All right. So 6 p.m. Central Time. Share it out with your friends. We're going to talk about Christian. Well, we're going to talk to Stephen, who is a Christian, but he does magic. And he uses magic to share the gospel, which is super cool. See, Janet Parshall always used to say, God puts his people everywhere. And he totally does. Even with a deck of cards. Yeah. Like this. Like, for example, did you see when I had the thing in my hand and now it's not. Or is it? No, it is. See? Did you see how I did that? Pretty tricky of me, isn't it? Mm-hmm. All right, people. So, tomorrow night, we're going to do some magic, people. And Melanie, I'm going to get this gift to you in the mail. Assuming I have the right address, just let Randall know. And Sean, sorry, you lost to Melanie. Bummer, bub. Bummer. Oh, well. Okay, well, anyway, we'll do this again, too. Don't worry about it. Let's see. I think that's it. People. So I hope you have a good night. Remember, be bold, people. Stand up and go with God. Yeah, because he loves you.